yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from my hot and sweltering happy place, the Yarn Corner here on Vancouver Island in Canada. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is Tuesday, August the 15th, 2023, and this is video number 195. How are you all doing? I hope you're well. And if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, I hope you're keeping cool. If you're going through a hot spell like we are, it's been like 4 or 5 days of a heat wave, and we're gonna get a reprieve, I think, in a day or two. There's gonna be some cooler climate, cooler weather coming through, and I can't wait for it. But here we are in the yarn room, and as the title suggests, I'll be talking about 2 purchases that I made online with Herrschners. Now, this was an influence purchase that I was watching some of my favorite YouTubers unboxing this yarn. It has been with me since around mid-June. I made the purchase early June, and I was watching people like Bagger Day, Crystal. She was unboxing some of these mill end cakes, the alpaca variety, and also the merino variety. These are discounted cakes. They're mill ends. They don't come with labels. They are kind of, I guess, the last bits of a cake. Maybe a color hasn't worked out properly. Sometimes the cakes are bigger than the regular cakes that you would get in the store. Yeah, so for whatever reason, the yarn is excellent. It's still workable and still usable. And they offer up cotton cakes. There was alpaca for a while, and also merino cakes. So lovely blends and textures and wonderful, wonderful colors. I have a sneaking suspicion that they are Yarn Arts cakes, and they have a series called Flowers. And I've got a couple of alpaca and flower cakes in my stash, and they do match up really, really well, as I think that's where it was coming from. And it's all yarn made in Turkey for the mill ends. And I've just checked it today online to see whether the cakes are still available, and the cotton ones are available and not the other two. The merino and the alpaca are all sold out, but they do come in every so often, so keep an eye out for them online. And if they are at the price point that they sold them for when I was purchasing them, the $14.99 and $15.99, they're well worth the deal for sure. And then there was my second purchase, also influenced by other YouTubers. I saw Nancy from Shez Got Yarn too bagging this or unboxing it, and all the wonderful colors that she had purchased. So I was eager to get some of the sale, and it was lucky that I got in on that, because I think now the price point has gone up on these 3 packs, and it's the Herrschners Afghan yarn. I also saw Russ from It's Raining Yarn unboxing some of this wonderful yarn, delicious yarn. So yeah, before I get going on all of this wonderful yarn, I want to talk to you about what Hank is wearing. And he is wearing one of my very first lightweight crocheted scarves that I did maybe about 2.5 to 3 years ago. It is not to a pattern. It was just me practicing, working, increasing, decreasing, because it's sort of a, what is that called? Like a parallelogram shape where it goes on an angle. And yeah, I was practicing my seed stitch. Some people call it the linen stitch. And I was carrying my color yarn along one edge of the piece as well. So it was like a multi-fold kind of exercise for me to learn. And I love the way that it ended up being this lovely draped material. I matched my yarns. So I was using cotton yarn from Ice Cakes, and I was using some wool blend cakes from, I think there was a Yarn Art. The yellow one, the speckle one, might be Yarn Art yarn that I picked up from a festival. And it was yeah, it was a really interesting mix of different fibers and different collections of yarn. There's also a hawthorn yarn here, kettle dyed, from Knit Picks, the red one, called Picnic. I still remember the color. And it is very reminiscent of Hogwarts School. The house colors for Gryffindor from Harry Potter, the red and the gold. I absolutely love using the colors. I might have even been reading Harry Potter at the time I was making this or watching the movies. So yeah, really nice and fun make. If you're happening across this channel for the very first time, I want to welcome you, and I've set this channel up to talk about all of my yarny adventures. That's in knit, crochet. I dabble in a little bit of hand dyeing of yarn, and I talk about my acquisitions, which is what this video is going to be all about. So if that is of interest, please stick around. And for those who are returning, I want to say welcome back. Thank you for joining me and spending some of your time here on the channel. I loved reading all of your comments in the last few videos. You were giving me some, I guess it was like your input on like what yarns you liked when I was showcasing some of the Michael's yarns in the store when I was walking around the store. So I want to say thank you for all the feedback on that video. If you are interested in going to watch that video, I'll leave the link down below. And where I'm at on the interwebs, where you can find me is you can find me on Instagram. I do have a TikTok. Instagram is Urban Yarn Gary. TikTok I think is Urban Yarn Gary as well. I don't really put much on there, but if you're looking for pictures of Pixel, my puppy, she makes regular appearances on my Instagram. So I'll leave all the details where you can reach me down below. I do have a Teespring shop if you're looking for any Urban Yarn merchandise. You can go and visit them too. There should be thumbnails down below on some of the stuff that I have. Are you ready to see the colors that I got? The first one I'm going to showcase is the alpaca. The two that I got together were $15.99. Look at that. Those colors are amazing. Now, I wouldn't necessarily put them together, but I think I have enough yarn in each of the cakes to do a decent size shawl, and that's probably what I'll make with them. So that would be a shawl and that would be a shawl, or I could mix and match, because I think that this variety, the alpaca variety, mixes well with the merino variety. So let's take a look at the first one here. Beautiful pastel colors, goes from lilac to yellow to off-white. And the twist on this mill end, it's not really a high twist. I'm going to say it's loose to medium. And it's just so soft. I'm going to give this out of softness, 5 being the softest in my rating. I'm going to say it's probably a 3.75 to a 4. And I could wear this against my skin with no undergarments required. Quite soft. Now this one here is a wonderful bright, I like calling this one the superhero kind of colorway. It's not quite a rainbow because it's missing purplish colors as well as the greens, but it's orange, red, orange, yellow into, is that more of a, I think that might be a purplish color, and then into blue. Yep. So I absolutely love these two. They're amazing. I'll just put them back in the box here. And let's talk about the alpaca. I just got to find the bag where it was in. So the alpaca gradient mill ends, 2 to a bag. That's what it came in. It says on the bag here that it is 80% acrylic, 20% alpaca. I'm getting 225 grams per cake. All up then it's 450 grams approximately. And in each of the cakes I'm getting 924 yards or 845 meters. It's saying here to hand wash, lay flat to dry for care instructions. It's a number 3 weight yarn, but then they've got underneath the category of number 3, they've got sport weight. So normally what happens with the number 3, it's called a medium. oh sorry, a light. So I don't know what's going on with that. This doesn't say where it's made, like what mill it's made in or manufacturing country, but they're saying here to use a size 7 hook or a got a knitting gauge, a US size 4 knitting needle. Yeah, so came in a nice bag to keep it nice and clean. Now I did actually ask for 2 of the alpaca, two bags of it, but they must have run out, so I was reimbursed for the bag that was missing. And I also was missing some pom-pom kits I had ordered, and I just wrote to Herrschners customer service and they reimbursed me for the missing items. The next one I have are the merino cakes. So these are the merino gradient cakes. Look at that. So I got 2 of the same for bigger project. I guess I could maybe make a large kind of shawlanket. And this one is grays going into, it sort of almost looks like pinkish, gray pink, and then to an off-white. That's really nice too. I could also blend, as I was saying, the alpacas with this if the colors were to match up, but I don't think they do match up very well with what I've got. These were $14.99 for the 2, and equally as soft. I would give it the same softness scale, say a 3.75 to 4 out of 5. And this is what is written on the bag for the merino. It's the merino gradient mill ends, and they're saying here 75% acrylic, 25% wool, and each ball has 20 grams, offering up 400, oh sorry, each ball has 200 grams, I can't read, offering up a total of 400 grams in the bag. And they're saying here it is 568 yards per cake and 520 meters. Again, it's saying here that the classification is 3 weight and it's sport. The care instructions in this one is that you can machine wash in cold and lay flat to dry. But I would say if I'm working on something for a month or 2 and I spent all that time using these cakes, I would probably definitely want to hand wash them just to make sure that nothing ever happens to the work. They're suggesting here again that there's a H8 hook size and a US size 7 needles. Is it the same as the other one? US size 7? Did I make a mistake on that? The hook size is 7 on this one, and then it's US 4 needles. I'm not sure. There's a big difference there, so maybe that's a printed error for the merino cake. So the next one that I got, because I did get 2 of the merino cakes, 2 packs. I love these 2. I want to put these 2 together because they're kind of best buds, I think. It's kind of like the red earth and ocean, and I think that they would work up nicely in a color work design. Again, merino cakes 2 to a set was $14.99, and I have looked online and I think that they have the mill end cakes in cotton acrylic still available on the Herrschners website in their mystery mill ends classification. So let's talk about, that was my first order, June the 2nd that I made, and we'll talk about some shipping. So shipping is, when I was purchasing this online, it came up as, for my shipping, $21 $8.90 US. It came to me in a plastic bag. About 2 weeks later it arrived, and I had to pay cash on delivery down at the post office at Canada Post, and it was released to me. It was somewhere in the vicinity of like $8 to $11 in Canadian funds for the cash on delivery. The other thing that I'm really curious about, not concerned but just curious, is that about 10 months ago, Herrschners went a different direction with their shipping. They used to hold or charge for Canadian taxes, but they switched over to a model where the taxes would be paid at the pickup point in Canada for us Canadians. And so the markup on the outside of the packaging, whether it's a box or a bag, was the indication on how much we needed to pay for taxes. So I'm, just curious in a way where most of my experience with having official forms like having to pay taxes have always been slapped on the outside of a box in a large kind of format type. You know, a page pulls out of a plastic bag and it gives you a breakdown on exactly what you're paying for. But with Herrschners, I'm not sure what the conditions are because they don't have any of that. So if you're running a business and you want to keep those receipts for tax purposes, not in my case, but perhaps maybe for yourself who's purchasing things to make to sell, and that's part of your inventory that you could put towards deductible for your income, then the side of a box or a bag with the markup of your payment that you've made for the taxes, I don't think Revenue Canada would accept that as like a authentic deductible receipt. So I don't know whether that's the end of Herrschners kind of ironing out their shipping right now, or if it's still in flux and things are still moving and, you know, they haven't settled on something. It only has been 10 months. But for me, I'm happy with continuing to purchase and paying the cash on delivery. That's totally fine. So the next point of purchase that I made was another one from Herrschners on June the 10th. So only 8 days later, I was watching, and I told you that I got influenced by the YouTubers that I watch, and I made a purchase on the Herrschners Afghan yarn. So here it came here in this huge box. As you can see, this is what I was talking about, cash on delivery. So it gives, that's my surname, and then it gives me how much I need to pay. So $14.08 in Canadian currency to have this released from the post office into my clutches. And let's take a look at this yarn here. All right, I have one bag out of the box because I've been using it, and I can talk to you a little bit about it at the end of all the colors that I purchased. And I'm using it for a crocheted blanket right now. It's joining all the squares together, and I'm using it for a border. So I'm about 80% done on the blanket. It's called the Nature's Walk by Sandra Paul, and I absolutely love the blanket. I'm thinking of making another one in different colors. I've already pulled the colors for it as well. So that's how eager I am. So it came in a bag of 3, and this is how they sold the yarn. So I'm looking at my invoice here, and it's saying here that each of these bags I purchased were for $5.37. So you get 3 balls for $5.37. I looked online just now. As of today, this date, it's not selling for that discount, but it is still discounted. It says here they're selling them for $8.37 for the 3-pack. So that's still a good deal, I think. So pull one out so we can look at it. This is the one that I've actually started using, and it's called the Herrschners 2-ply Classic Afghan Yarn. And it's really, really soft. I'm going to give this out of 5 an easy 3.5. It is really soft, not itchy against my skin whatsoever. The twist on the yarn, they do classify it as a a sport weight yarn. It's a light twist. I wouldn't give it a medium twist at all. It is quite light, and there is a bit of bounce to it, which is nice. It has some give. And what can I tell you about this? So it's classified 2 weight fine, or a sport weight, 100% acrylic. You get 5 ounces or 142 grams in each ball, offering up 558 yards or 511 meters. They're suggesting here to use size 4 needle or US 4, and crochet hook is an E4 hook. You can machine wash and tumble dry this. It's made in Turkey, and the colorway is called Oat. If you need the number, it is 1036. It has a slight fuzz to it. Somewhere sits between a matte and a shiny. So I'm going to say semi-matte or semi-shiny. And yeah, I really enjoy working with it. It does split a little bit, but I think with your movements of your hook, if you are a little bit conscientious of doing some exaggerated movements, you kind of clear the splitting of it and you can grab it quite easy. But when you're working quick, I guess you can kind of like mess up and have the hook go right through quite easily. So some splitting. But yeah, love the color. So I got 3 of those. But that's not all that I got. I got so many more colors. I won't take these ones out of the bag. I'll keep them nice and fresh in the bag. But this one is called Pebble. Is it called Pebble? Pebble. It's another neutral that has a cool tone to it. And this is the one that I'm going to use for my second blanket of Nature's Walk. And this one here is called Iris. I always thought Iris, the color of Iris was like the darker purple into yellow. Was a little darker than this purple. And I know a few of you have been making the Nature's Walk alongside me as well when I've been making them. So I just want to say congratulations to a few people who have made it almost to the end. Kevin, you're doing a great job. I love the colors that you chose. So this one here is called Almond. And this one here is called Nectar. I really like this color. It's kind of a little day glow from the 80s, like a fluorescent color. And this one reminds me a little bit of Barbie, but its color is called Hibiscus. Hibiscus. Two more. This one here is called Pacific. Pacific. Yeah, it's a nice kind of teal, blue teal, I'd say. Oh, got a message. Turn that off. And my last one that I have here is called Peacock. So this is more of a green teal. So I got a blue teal and I got a green teal. So those are very kind of close, but this one has more blue, this one has more green. So yeah, looking at shipping on that big box there, I'm surprised to tell you that from that box to the smaller bag with the 6 cakes, the same value for shipping. So that tells me that there's a big kind of area of how big and small your parcel can be that they will charge you the same amount. So $21.90 was the going rate for both of those to be shipped, and the change of the price point for me on cash on delivery, the first one being I think $8 to $11 when I picked up, was $14 for this big box. So I would say that if it's such a large threshold for your shipping cost, it kind of works out better to do large order and hope that you fall in with that threshold, like you don't start into the next bracket, that you stay in that $20 to $21.90, because there is a big difference between the cakes to that big box with all those, 3 packs of yarn in them. So yeah, I am super happy with all the colors that I've worked with so far, and also the cakes. Oh my goodness, I just don't know which one to choose to work up first, and I'm going to be looking for patterns. Have you purchased any of the mystery cakes yourself from Herrschners? I'm interested to know what kind of colors you got. Were you happy with them? And also, have you purchased the Afghan, which is the sport weight yarn? And which colors did you choose? If you haven't purchased from Herrschners these on these sales, do you have a favorite color that I showed you? Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are and if you were drawn to any of what I've shown you. And I'll catch you up in the next video. Stay well and safe. Enjoy the weather, whether you're in the hot parts of the world right now, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, that you're keeping warm in your winter. And I'll catch you up in the next episode. Bye for now.